Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the Registered Retirement Savings Plan, or the RRSP, and how you should use it properly. First thing you should know about the RRSP is that there's actually no age to open an RRSP account. You just need to have a valid social insurance number, be a Canadian resident, earn an income, and have filed your taxes. Because the RRSP is a registered account, there are limits and rules on how much you can invest into the account. And this is going to be very different than it was for the TFSA. If you watched that video, you'll know that it's a set amount for everyone. Every person in Canada has the same contribution limit each year. But for the RRSP, it's going to depend on how much income you earn the previous year. So your contribution room is actually based on 18% of your previous year's income, up to a maximum of $31,560 for 2024. And that number is going to go up with inflation. But the 18% of your income, your previous year's income, has stayed the same for years. So for example, if you were earning $50,000 last year in 2023, then your contribution room for 2024 will be $9,000, because 18% of $50,000 is $9,000. Now, just like the TFSA, if you don't use your previous year's contribution room, don't worry about it. It gets carried forward. So if in 2022 you had $9,000 of room, didn't use it, and in 2023 you had another $9,000 worth of room, well, in 2024 you actually have that $18,000 from the previous 2 years, plus the extra you earn in 2024. Now, how does this account differ from the TFSA? It's actually almost a mirror image of the TFSA, where all of your withdrawals from the TFSA were withdrawn completely 100% tax-free. All of your withdrawals from the RRSP will be taxed at your marginal tax rate. So the government actually considers it income. So for example, here is the Alberta tax brackets. And so if you were an Albertan making $100,000 per year last year, you can see that you'd be in the 30.5% tax bracket. And so if you withdrew $10,000 from your RRSP, then the government assumes you made $110,000, the $100,000 salary plus the $10,000 you withdrew from your RRSP account. And so now that $10,000 needs to be taxed at your marginal rate, and so that's going to be at 30.5%. So at tax time, you're going to file your taxes and you're going to state that you withdrew $10,000, and they're going to tax you at 30.5%. So you're going to owe the CRA $3,050, and you actually get to keep $6,950. Another difference between the TFSA and the RRSP is that you can't actually put the $10,000 back. So with the TFSA, you had to wait 1 calendar year, but with the RRSP, that money is taken out of your account and you can't actually put that back. There are 2 exceptions, but I'll save that for another video. So those were some big differences between the TFSA and the RRSP, and it doesn't look like there's too many bright spots for the RRSP right now. So why would anyone open an RRSP account? Well, I haven't mentioned the major advantage that the RRSP has over the TFSA, and that is that every contribution you make into your RRSP account reduces your taxable earnings from the previous year. If you're making $100,000, you took out $10,000, that counts as taxable earnings, so you actually earned $110,000 in the government's eye. But if you contribute to an RRSP, the $10,000, then in the government's eyes, you've actually only earned $90,000. That $10,000 that you just contributed to the RRSP was taxed already from your paycheck or whatever source of income you've made. And so at tax time, the government's going to give you back $3,050 rather than take it from you. And this is huge. It's actually quite easy for a Canadian couple to retire in the 25% tax bracket. A couple can retire earning over $111,000 and still be in the 25% tax bracket if you've managed your finances properly. Each spouse can earn up to $55,860 in this example here in Alberta, and still be in the 25% tax bracket. So how do you use the RRSP correctly? First, you should always invest in it. This is a retirement account. I'm assuming that you're going to have this account open for quite a few years. That's a lot of time to negate the ups and the downs that come with the market, and you should be investing in this account, not turning your savings account into an RRSP and holding cash. And the second thing is, when you're earning more than the $55,867 in Alberta, and it's actually really close to $55,000 in BC or in Ontario or the other provinces as well, just see your tax bracket for whatever province you happen to reside in. So here in Alberta, really anyone earning over that $55,867 will be taxed more than 25%. So if you're making $100,000, you're getting taxed at 30.5%. And then the assumption is when you retire, you're able to retire in the 25% tax bracket. That makes a lot of sense. You're getting 30.5% back and then being taxed at 25%. What doesn't make sense is if you're a lower income earner or a student or something, and you're in that 0 or 15% tax bracket, if you opened an RRSP, then you would get 15% tax back, and then later on, you're probably getting taxed at 25%. And that doesn't make any sense. The government wins in that situation. So essentially, you should be investing in an RRSP when you are earning more than what you think you will be making in retirement. Now, one thing to note is that a lot of Canadians make a serious mistake with the RRSPs, and that is spending their tax back. The reason the RRSP has this big advantage over the TFSA and other accounts is that you get this tax back, and if you invest it properly, it is the account for you. But if you spend it, the RRSP actually ends up being one of the worst accounts that you can invest in. Worse than the non-registered account. That money, that tax benefit that you just created, poof, gone to a snowmobile, a new car, a quad. I've heard so many stories of where people spend their RRSP tax back. What you need to do with that RRSP refund is you need to reinvest it. You can put it into your TFSA, into your RRSP, pay off high interest debt, something like that. I know my wife and I, we used to use that tax back to put a lump sum onto our mortgage every year. And I get it. It was at the time low interest debt. I should have invested it instead of pay off the mortgage faster, but it felt really good to whittle down that mortgage. So there are a couple of other rules that you should be aware of with the RRSP. One is that you actually don't have to claim the tax back in the year that you contributed to your RRSP. So for example, if you were that student in that 0 to 15% tax bracket and you have some money and you decide to put it into your RRSP, you don't have to claim it then because you wouldn't get a lot of tax back. But you know that when you graduate university and you're going to be making, again, let's say $100,000 and you're going to be in that 30.5% tax bracket, when you're filing your taxes, you can just say, I don't want to claim this RRSP contribution yet, and just keep doing that until you're earning a higher income. So you contribute, so let's say again $10,000 when you are 18 and you're in the low tax bracket, you can say, I don't want to claim it, I don't want to claim it, I don't want to claim it. And then when you are now making big dollars when you graduate from university and you're making $100,000, you can say, yep, I want to claim it. And then you get the 30.5% tax back rather than the 0 or 15% tax back. Another rule about the contributions for the RRSP is that the deadline for RRSP contributions is actually 60 days after January 1st. So you actually normally have until March 1st. On a leap year like 2024, you have until February 29th to make your contributions for the previous year. So if I wanted to contribute $10,000 into my RRSP on, say, February 10th, I can still claim that money on the 2023 tax filings. I don't have to save it for the 2024 tax filings. And you'll see all over the news, all over the TV, it's all advertised at the bank's RRSP season. And that's just from January 1st to March 1st or February 29th, stating that you can still contribute to your RRSPs and reduce your taxes from the previous year. So to summarize, you should contribute to your RRSPs when you are in a higher tax bracket. So again, once you're above that 25% tax bracket in Alberta into that 30.5, then it's probably a good idea to start contributing to your RRSP instead of your TFSA. You should probably get comfortable with investing into your RRSP rather than saving in your RRSP. And the number one rule with the RRSP account, when you get that tax back, you cannot spend it. You must reinvest it or pay off high interest debt with it. You cannot purchase your toys and stuff like that. That takes away all advantages of the RRSP. So I hope this video has shown you what the RRSP is and how you should use it properly. If you would like help setting one up or anything like that or have questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm happy to help. And if you'd like to stay informed of some of my other videos, please subscribe below and have a wonderful day.